The glass doors of Premier Motors slid open with a quiet hiss. Marcus Chen stepped inside, his sneakers squeaking slightly against the polished marble floor. The showroom gleamed under bright lights, rows of luxury vehicles positioned like sculptures in a gallery. Chrome sparkled. Leather seats beckoned. Everything screamed wealth and exclusivity. Marcus wore jeans and a simple gray hoodie. His hands rested casually in his pockets as he walked toward a midnight blue sedan near the center of the floor. He had been looking forward to this moment for weeks, ever since he finalized the purchase of the entire dealership chain. Nobody here knew who he really was. That was exactly how he wanted it. "Can I help you?" The voice came from behind, sharp and cold. Marcus turned to see a man in an expensive suit striding toward him. The nameplate on his chest read Derek Stone, sales manager. Derek's eyes scanned Marcus from head to toe, and his expression shifted from professional to dismissive in seconds. "I'm interested in this model," Marcus said, gesturing toward the sedan. "Could you tell me about the features?" Derek stopped a few feet away, crossing his arms. "That vehicle starts at $90,000. Plus tax, fees, and premium packages." He emphasized each word as if speaking to a child. "Maybe you should try the used lot down the street. They have more, shall we say, affordable options." Marcus felt the familiar weight settle in his chest. He had experienced this before, countless times throughout his life. But today was different. Today, he had the power to do something about it. "I can afford it," Marcus replied calmly. "I'd like to take a test drive." Derek laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the showroom. "Look, buddy, I don't have time for this. We get people wandering in here all day thinking they can waste our time. You clearly don't belong here. Why don't you go back to wherever you came from and stop pretending?" Two other salespeople stood nearby, watching the exchange. A young woman named Sarah shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting between Derek and Marcus. Another employee, an older man named Tom, simply looked at his shoes. Neither said a word. "I'd like to speak with the owner," Marcus said, his voice steady. Derek's face twisted into a sneer. "The owner? You want to speak with the owner?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "The owner of this dealership would never waste his time meeting with someone like you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Someone like you." The words hung in the air like poison. Sarah's hand moved to her mouth. Tom remained frozen, still staring at the ground. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. Derek watched with a smirk, clearly assuming Marcus was about to leave in defeat. Instead, Marcus dialed a number and raised the phone to his ear. "Hi, Janet. It's Marcus Chen. I need you to contact the regional director and have them come to the Premier Motors location on Westfield Avenue immediately." "Yes, right now. Tell them it's urgent. Also, contact our legal team and have them prepare documentation regarding today's date and time. I'll explain when you get here." Derek's smirk faltered slightly. "What are you doing? Who are you calling?" Marcus ended the call and slipped his phone back into his pocket. "I'm calling my assistant. She works for me at Chen Automotive Group, the company that purchased this dealership chain 4 weeks ago. I'm Marcus Chen. I own this building, every car in it, and until about 3 minutes ago, I was your boss." The color drained from Derek's face like water from a broken glass. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Sarah gasped audibly. Tom's head snapped up, his eyes wide with shock. "That's not possible," Derek stammered. "The owner was Richard Brennan," Marcus finished. "He retired and sold the entire chain to my company. We kept the Premier Motors name because of its reputation. Although after today, I'm questioning whether that reputation is deserved." The glass doors opened again. 3 people in business suits rushed inside, their faces tight with concern. The woman in front, Janet Park, carried a tablet and wore an expression that suggested she already knew this situation was bad. "Mr. Chen," she said, slightly breathless. "We came as quickly as we could. Regional Director Mike Torres is right behind me." A tall man with green hair entered next, his face pale. "Mr. Chen, I apologize for not being here to greet you personally. We weren't expecting that was the point, Mike," Marcus interrupted. "I wanted to see how this location operates when nobody knows the owner is watching. And what I found is unacceptable." He turned to face Derek, who looked like he might be sick. "I recorded our entire conversation. You refused to serve me because of how I look. You made assumptions about my financial status based on my appearance and race. You told me to go back to where I came from. You said the owner would never meet with someone like me." Derek's hands trembled. "Mr. Chen, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. That's exactly the problem," Marcus said, his voice cutting through the excuse like a blade. "You didn't know, and you didn't care to know. You saw someone who didn't fit your narrow definition of what a customer should look like, and you treated them with contempt. How many other people have walked through these doors and received the same treatment? How many potential customers have we lost because of your prejudice?" The showroom had gone completely silent. Other employees had gathered at a distance, watching the scene unfold. Marcus addressed them all. "I want everyone to gather in the conference room. Right now." 10 minutes later, the entire staff sat around a long table. Marcus stood at the head, his arms crossed. Janet and Mike flanked him on either side. "Derek Stone is fired, effective immediately," Marcus announced. Derek, who sat slumped in a corner chair, said nothing. His career had ended in a matter of minutes. "Security will escort you out. You'll receive information about your final paycheck and benefits, but your time here is done." 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Derek stood on shaky legs and walked out without looking back. Marcus turned to the remaining employees. "Now, let's talk about the rest of you. Sarah Martinez, you looked uncomfortable during that interaction. Tom Patterson, you couldn't even look at what was happening. Neither of you said anything. Neither of you intervened." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry. I wanted to say something, but Derek was my supervisor. I was afraid of losing my job." "And now you understand the cost of silence," Marcus replied. "But here's what I'm offering. Anyone in this room who has witnessed similar behavior from Derek or anyone else, you have 24 hours to report it to Mike or Janet. If you come forward honestly, if you help us understand the full scope of the problem here, you'll keep your jobs. More than that, you'll be part of the solution." Tom raised his hand hesitantly. "Mr. Chen, I've seen Derek turn away at least a dozen customers in the past 6 months. Always people of color. Always with some excuse about them not being serious buyers." Other hands slowly rose around the table. One by one, employees began sharing stories. The picture that emerged was damning. Derek had created a culture of discrimination that infected the entire location. Marcus listened to every story, his expression grave. When the last person finished speaking, he nodded slowly. "Thank you for your honesty. It takes courage to admit you stood by while wrong things happened. Now comes the hard part, making sure it never happens again." He outlined his plan. Mandatory anti-discrimination training for all staff. A new customer service protocol with oversight and accountability. An anonymous reporting system for anyone who witnessed inappropriate behavior. Community partnerships with local organizations to rebuild trust. "Sarah," Marcus said, turning to the young woman who had shown visible discomfort during his encounter with Derek. "You're promoted to interim sales manager. I saw something in you today. You knew what was happening was wrong, even if fear kept you silent. Now I'm giving you the chance to make sure that fear no longer has power here." Sarah's eyes went wide. Mr. Chen, I don't know what to say. Thank you. I won't let you down. I know you won't. Because if you do, you're gone too. Everyone in this room needs to understand that. We're not just selling cars. We're representing something bigger. Every customer who walks through those doors deserves respect, dignity, and fair treatment. I don't care if they're wearing a three-piece suit or pajamas. We serve everyone. The meeting ended an hour later. Employees filed out quietly, their expressions a mixture of relief and determination. Marcus remained in the conference room with Janet and Mike. That was handled well, Mike said. But we need to audit every location in the chain. If this was happening here, it might be happening elsewhere. Agreed, Marcus replied. Set it up. I want surprise visits to every dealership over the next month. And I want exit interviews with every employee who left in the past year. Let's find out what we've been missing. As the sun began to set, Marcus walked back onto the showroom floor. The midnight blue sedan still sat in the center, gleaming under the lights. He ran his hand along the smooth hood, then opened the driver's side door and slid into the leather seat. Sarah approached cautiously. Would you still like to take it for a test drive, Mr. Chen? Marcus smiled, the first genuine smile he'd worn since entering the building hours ago. Actually, Sarah, I think I'll buy it. Right now. Let's do the paperwork. 30 minutes later, Marcus drove out of Premier Motors in his new car. The engine purred smoothly as he merged into traffic. His phone rang through the car's speakers. Janet's voice filled the cabin. Mr. Chen, the legal team has everything documented. And we've already received calls from 4 employees with additional information about Derek's behavior. Good. Make sure they know their cooperation is appreciated. And Janet, schedule a meeting with our human resources team. We need to review hiring practices across the entire company. What happened today can't happen again. Understood, sir. Marcus ended the call and drove in silence for a while, watching the city lights begin to twinkle in the growing darkness. Change wouldn't happen overnight. There would be resistance, setbacks, people who didn't want to adapt. But he had started something today that would ripple outward, touching every corner of his company. Tomorrow, he would visit another location, unannounced. The day after that, another. He would keep showing up, keep watching, keep holding people accountable. Because that was what ownership really meant. Not just having your name on the building, but taking responsibility for everything that happened inside it. As Marcus turned onto the highway toward home, he thought about Derek's face when the truth was revealed. There had been shock, fear, regret. But regret without change was worthless. What mattered now was action. What mattered was making sure the next person who walked through those doors, whoever they were, whatever they looked like, received the respect every human being deserved. The road stretched out ahead, dark and full of possibility. Marcus pressed the accelerator, and the car responded with smooth, powerful acceleration. He had a lot of work to do. But tonight, driving his new car away from a dealership that would never be the same, Marcus Chen allowed himself a moment of hope. Justice had been served. And tomorrow, the real work would begin.